Here we have to find sine of negative 45 degrees. And first off, what we're going to do is see what quadrants it's in to see if it's positive or negative, kind of where it's at. And so here you can see it's in the fourth quadrant because we're negative 45 degree angle means we count clockwise. And in the fourth quadrant, only cosine is positive. So in other words, we know we're going to have a negative sign in front. And its reference angle is 45, so it's going to be negative sine of 45. And we know what sine of 45 is in the first quadrant, which is going to be root 2 over 2. And so sine negative 45 is negative root 2 over 2. Next, we have to find cosine of 240 degrees. Once again, we're going to use the axes and the all students take calculus or CAST to know which ratio is positive in which quadrant. At 240 degrees, we're going to count it. Well, from here, that would be 180, and then plus 60 brings us down here. So you can see this angle's in the third quadrant, and cosine is negative in the third quadrant. And also, its reference angle, its angle with the x-axis, this angle here, from this to this, is going to be a 60-degree angle. So it's going to be equal to negative cosine 60. Which is going to be cosine 60 is 1/2, so it's negative 1/2. Here we have to find tangent of negative 90 degrees. First thing we're going to do is look where this angle is on the axes. And if we count, because it's a negative angle, we're going to count clockwise, 90 degrees, and it's going to take us to the negative y-axis. And actually, this ratio is going to be undefined. And well, why is that? Let's take a look. If we have our angle theta, that's our negative angle. Here's our x and here's our y, right? Because tangent theta is opposite over adjacent, so it's y over x. As this theta approaches 90, the x value, see the x value is very small. If this moves towards 90 degrees or negative 90 degrees, this x value is going to get very close to 0. In other words, and when it touches 90, negative 90, it's going to equal 0. So in other words, we're going to be dividing by 0, and that's why it's undefined. Here we have to find cosine of 540 degrees. Now first off, we're going to see where is this angle on the axes. Well, actually, it's a huge angle, actually. It's greater than 360. So let's first count off 360 to get it out of the way. That's one full rotation. It gets us back to where we started. 540 minus 360. Now we have 180 left. And we know that angles that overlap each other are the same. So we can say this is equal to cosine 180. Now we're going to count the remaining 180, and so we're going to see, okay, well, our angle is going to be on the negative x-axis right here. And that's going to mean cosine 180 is negative 1. And well, why is that? Well, if you think about it, cosine is x over r. So here's our angle. It's close to 180. Not quite 180, but it's close. As this angle gets to the negative x-axis, x and r are going to be basically the same. They're going to overlap. So in other words, this is going to be 1, except it's not going to be positive 1, because remember, x, this is on the negative x-axis, so x is negative. And so that's why cosine of 180 degrees will be negative 1.